Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and I'm still catching up on all the Final Fantasy VII news. Of course, they decided to release it all while I was away for a day, but all the same, I already watched the trailer. That's going to be its own video, me nerding out and desperately trying to remember the names of everything because there's way too many things to reference. But now I want to dive a little bit deeper because I also saw over on social media some interviews that were popping up. There was the closer look thing from Square Enix, which my Twitch chat let me know about. And then there was this on the PlayStation blog. Those are the only two I've seen, but there might be more than that. It's a matter of waiting to find out. So, developer interview reveals fresh gameplay details as new trailer debuts at State of Play. Okay, we've got summons, gold saucer, minigames, side quests, and more discussed in an exclusive Q&A as the game's release date is confirmed for February 29th. So, today's State of Play had a brand new look at VII Rebirth. It will delight long-term Seven fans, and the trailer caught glimpses of new party members sprawling open areas, reimagining some iconic moments. Key staff has joined us to share not only more insight, but additional gameplay details. They've got Yoshinori Kitase, Tetsuya Nomura, Naoki Hamaguchi, and Keiji Kawamori. So, plenty of details to look at. So let's see, because I've seen a lot of people talking about this interview on social. Can you explain what we're seeing of the combat system here? Has it remained untouched since 7 Remake? Have you altered anything? We already knew they were adding some new elements. I mean, we got to see some of them in Intergrade even, you know, when they had the joint attacks with Yuffie and Sonon. So we saw a lot of that in the trailer. But, you know, they're just doing the formal, you know, hey, we're the PlayStation blog. You know, we're going to ask stuff in case people don't know everything. Highlight the new synergy moves for the battle system. The new mechanic allows players to use synergy commands and abilities freely at any time by using up a gauge charge in a similar manner to limit breaks. So through the battles, players will feel the relationships and bonds they have developed between the characters even more so than in previous games. We've added skill trees. Oh, I don't remember if they've mentioned that before. Skill trees as a new element of character growth. That's kind of surprising to see. If they have talked about it before, I don't remember it. So I was like, I'm getting something brand new here. Okay. You can unlock synergy abilities through the skill tree. Many new materia with new abilities not seen in the first game will be available, so players have even more options. Yeah, we had a lot of materia options in the first game, like way more than I would have expected for just Midgar. So I was wondering how they were going to do materia, or like how they were going to keep new materia exciting outside of like a few specific ones we hadn't seen. And then there's some materia I don't even know what they'll do in the first place for. So, okay, yeah, that's the skill tree. Oh, that's kind of surprising. Okay. Viewers get a glimpse of Red XIII in combat. Yeah, buddy. Players now able to control him. What can they expect in terms of his abilities that make him distinct? Development team challenged themselves to give Red XIII a new playstyle that felt different. I mean, I hope so. Red XIII doesn't just have an ATB gauge, but also his own unique revenge gauge. His revenge gauge charges when he guards against enemy attacks, and he can spend that charge to use various abilities once the gauge is filled. We've designed Red XIII as a new type of character. That's weird. I'd imagine him being more nimble than guardy. You know, that's like something I'd expect more from Barrett initially if he didn't have the overcharge on his gun. So, I mean, that's fine. That definitely isn't what I would have imagined. But, you know, he looks nimble enough in the trailers, so maybe you can, like, choose which one you'd rather do. Because there's always that mechanic in every RPG or in every game where you could learn it and you could do it, but you just choose not to. So, I'm going to have to see how that actually plays. Because, again, that's definitely not what I would have imagined. We designed Red XIII as a new type of character that requires the player to strike a balance between offensive strategy and defensive strategy using the revenge gauge. Yeah, it sounds like he's just supposed to balance between the two. I just wonder what the effective difference is if you choose to mostly stick to the traditional attack and dodge. It sounds like you really want to commit to getting those guards, which is actually fine. I felt like I never tried to guard as much in the original as I should have. Like, there were things I definitely just sat there and guarded because dodging them was way too much of a pain. But I definitely never felt like as incentivized to do it. So that might actually get me to do it as I'm trying out Red XIII. Seen Red XIII and Kate Sith shown as playable characters, and the footage release shows the other character who looks like Vincent. So I like how the interviewer... So I was talking about this when I was talking about the trailer. I can't help but reference the original. You know, I know there's people brand new to 7 with Remake and now Rebirth, but I have decades of experience with the original. I can't help but reference. Seems the PlayStation blog expected I would be the kind of person reading this, because people who have watched the trailer have no idea who Sexy Vampire Man is. They just know he's Sexy Vampire Man. And so there you go. I mean, they're just like, yeah, no, that's Vincent. So anyway, moving on. So will he be playable as well? Will the party expand? I mean, of course it'll expand further. The original party members are all present in Rebirth. So are all present. So, I mean, we pretty much figured that Sid was going to be there. I mean, if they're going to go to Nibelheim, they're probably going to continue past that to Rocket Town, which is like, they're all like back to back to back between Cosmo Canyon, Nibelheim, and that. So there's a lot of making sure we fill everything out at that point. So yeah, Vincent will be there. I expect Sid to be there. Red XIII became an accompanying party member in the second half, but now he'll be official playable starting in Rebirth. Similarly, there are characters who are accompanying members in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that will become official party members in the next half. So it sounds like Sid and maybe Vincent, because they say character or accompanying members, like plural. We can already see that Yuffie has the joint attack, so it could be that Vincent and or Sid are not playable. They're considered so late into the game, we don't get to actually play them. And so I feel like you don't need to make that compromise this time around. I understand why you made it with Red, given the events in Midgar, but thinking about, depending on how far they go, I don't think Rocket Town, I mean, if they stop at you know, the scene, like everyone thinks they will, then yeah, I mean, I guess it is so late that it kind of makes sense to do the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. I would rather they just make them all playable at this point. I feel like there's no point in not, because Sid and Vincent are the only two that could potentially not be playable, and I'd rather they just be playable. But I felt the same way about Red. I'd rather he had just been playable, even if so late into the game before. So I guess it makes sense. I'd feel the same way here. And viewers caught a glimpse of Alexander and Odin. Excuse me, Kujata was in that trailer too. Throw some respect on Kujata's name. Aloha. What are you doing over there? My cat has been a menace all morning. What are you doing? Hey, get out of there. Stop. Why are you being a menace this morning? I'm trying to record. Look at this. He's just causing chaos. Look at him. Cat. Stop causing chaos. Relax. There's food right there. And there's a tower right there too. Your paw's stuck in my shirt. Go. Go. There you go. Oh, all right. Anyway, so can we expect more returning summons? I mean, yeah, I'd assume so. There'll be many other summons in the game in addition to those that have already been revealed in previous videos, with some also returning from Remake. In fact, the lineup of summons has actually been fleshed out over and above the previous game, with new and extended side content based on a summon who did not feature in the original 7. Did not feature. Okay. Wishlist is Diablos. I always want to see more Diablos show up. So if they're going to introduce something that wasn't in the original, that's who I would want. That's almost always going to be my want. There are other possibilities that they could go with that are not in this game. And then, like, my chat's already brought up Garuda is one, of course, that could technically show up. That way, when we do the 14 and 7 Rebirth collab, we just have more Garudas. But there are other characters that are not native to 7 that, of course, could show up as well. But I always want more on the floor. Aloha. I always want more Diablos. Unless they want like a fourth or a fourth Bahamut or something like that. Technically a fifth. Maybe they'll throw Bahamut Sin in there. Who knows? Maybe they'll just be like, who cares? Just throw Bahamut Sin in there. We put it in the world to just make him real. That should be fine. Sneaking into the original, Junon saw players partake in another unique minigame. We saw the parade and many other minigames revealed in the trailer. So will the same minigame from the original 7 be playable? Yes, the same minigame will be playable. It greatly increased its scope compared to what it was in the original 7. The original, Cloud sneaks into one of the units participating in the parade and joins in on the performance. But in 7 Rebirth, he becomes the leader. Okay, so I guessed it right from seeing the trailer. Customize the composition of the soldiers participating in the parade. Chosen unit composition will alter the performance, and it goes without saying this also affects how the minigame is played. The parade to celebrate the inauguration of Rufus as the new president of Shinra is the climax of the first half. I would not consider that a climax of the first half in any capacity. I would consider where your second game is going to end to be the climax, I suppose. So the development team was really enthused about making all the details for it. It's one of the moments I hope players enjoy the most. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of minigames, we got a fun glimpse at the Gold Saucer and its own minigames. How do the Rebirth versions differ from the original? Yeah, there's a lot, and honestly, most of them are not very good. I was kind of hoping to see the Mog one show up in the trailer as they started showing them off. It's not like it's a super involved minigame, the Mog one, but I was still kind of hoping to see it show up. It's really more like a storybook than anything else. I think there are a lot of fans who point to the number and variety of minigames as one of the draws of the original 7. But for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we've gone all out and created a huge number of minigames on a scale that passes even the original. Many of these minigames can be experienced in the main story, but we also have lots of unique games and challenges that appear as part of side stories that you can find as you explore the world map. There might well be players who get so caught up in all the fun minigames, they find they aren't making progress in the main story. Yeah, you never have to try very hard to make RPG players stop doing the main story. You just literally have to put any sort of distraction anywhere. And the Gold Saucer is one giant distraction. And since it sounds like it'll open up more stuff as you explore the world map, people are just going to be revisiting it nonstop. You know, it's a little bit of a pain to revisit the Gold Saucer in the original early on. Hopefully not a pain here, especially if they're going to unlock it gradually like that. So fingers crossed, hoping that we just go back nonstop. Gold Saucer is another iconic locale that players will be eager to visit. How have you approached redesigning the amusement park? Players will first visit the Gold Saucer in the middle section of the game, but then are free to come. All right, there you go. I guess I should have just read 2 more sentences in. In order to create that motivation and make them want to come back, we designed the park to provide a changing and ever more wonderful experience with each visit. So new mini games are added and harder difficulty modes are unlocked as the main story progresses, giving you more to do. Yep, there you go. It's not just mini games. The parts of the Gold Saucer seen in the main story will also be fully remade and upgraded. Yeah, looking forward to the haunted hotel. So you can expect great things from it. Trailer also shows moments of the party exploring lush exterior open areas. How do these larger areas work within the context of the gameplay and story? Once the team leaves Midgard Cloud, the team's main objective in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is to follow and track down Sephiroth across the expansive world they find themselves in. Put a lot of emphasis on exploration-focused game design with this title, as we wanted to create that feeling of going on a journey while traveling around the world in pursuit of the evidence of Sephiroth's... Yeah, okay, I mean, of course I knew that because, you know, played the original, so let's move on. Several years into remaking iconic locations of 7 and Remake as being so successful, do you feel less pressure to match fan expectations? You can never feel less pressure. Do you know how vicious Final Fantasy fans are, especially people who started specifically with 7 and it's like their grand love? That you can never, ever, ever feel less pressure. Ever, ever, ever. If you think that for even a second, you are going to be crushed underneath. So they let Hamaguchi answer that one. As 7 Rebirth will take players to various locations around the whole world, we need to recreate the massive 7 world map that would also incorporate places such as towns and dungeons within itself. To do this, we dug deeply into the feeling of each region and reflected that in the graphics, creating areas that look and feel quite diverse. On top of that, we designed chocobos unique to each region that have their own abilities, mountain chocobos, sky chocobos. So they designed chocobos unique to each region. So it sounds like, sounds less like chocobo raising and more like just, it makes sense for chocobos in this place to have adapted to living here. At least that's what it sounds like. So players need to utilize their chocobos to fully explore each area. I hope players have a lot of fun with this aspect of exploration. I mean, that's not to say there won't have the breeding. I fully expect there to be the chocobo breeding at some point, or some sort of other ancillary chocobo feature. But that all the same, the exploration for the chocobos look pretty cool. 7 Remake offered new interpretations of classic locations, as well as entirely new ones, and enriched the game. This is similar for Rebirth. Chocobo just climbing up a mountain just looks absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. As with the previous game, we have strived for the right balance between old and new scenes, but we also tried to take on more new challenges than we did with Remake and some of the new scenes. I'm confident these new scenes will be wildly enjoyable for fans and newcomers alike. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discourse about whether or not the things they added in Remake were better or worse. I was neutral. I just kind of enjoyed that it felt like I wasn't just playing the original and I was playing something new. I also felt like it added a lot more anticipation for the second game because I didn't feel like I just knew absolutely everything. And when a game is, you know, decades old and you're just playing a very high fidelity remade version. The thought is that it's like, okay, well, you know, I guess, oh, there's that. And it loses a bit of that excitement, but they managed that with Remake for me. And so with Rebirth, I'm definitely excited. What is the function of the world map in 7 Rebirth? To get around? World map is vast and expansive, so not all locations on it will be used for the main story alone. And that's to be expected. In fact, volume-wise, the amount of side content in 7 Rebirth is nearly double that of the main quest content. Oh my goodness. I mean, main quest in 7 was what, like, I think if you didn't do any side contents, like 15, 20 hours, like if you skipped absolutely everything. And then the game itself was, I'd say it was probably about 1-to-1, maybe more like 1.5-to-1 in Remake. So 2-to-1, and I expect that I have to imagine this game's MSQ is longer than Remake's. Just there's too much that happens in the locations they've shown alone that I can't help but feel like the volume of that's going to be higher, and then this is double of that. So, oh boy. Players who want to enjoy 7 setting on an even deeper level can explore all corners of the world, discovering many different and exciting experiences such as new stories, battles, and mini-games to play. It'll also be possible to return to any region of the world even after the main quest moves on. Oh, thank goodness. I figured we'd probably have to chapter select in order to go back. I mean, maybe you do. They don't say how you return to the other regions, but if you're going to return to the Gold Saucer whenever you want, I can't imagine they're using chapter select to go back through the areas. I mean, it made sense for Midgar because of like the individual states of each area and like what was collectible in each chapter. Here, no, yeah, I think they're just not going to make us wait to get an airship, it sounds like. Thank goodness for that. But I wonder if it's just going to be fast travel and then you just have to restrict certain things like the buggy and which chocobos and whatnot to the areas you're actually in. Given this is a direct continuation of Remake, can players port over their save file? You know, I could have swore I mentioned, or I remember them mentioning, goodness gracious, I need more coffee, that they were going to do something like that when the very first game was like first announced. But since then, they've kind of backed off the idea. We've announced that in 7 Remake project will be a trilogy, that each entry will be a standalone game in its own right because of this, and each game's balancing is done independently, and a player's levels and abilities will not carry over from one to the next game. However, we have created some special bonuses for fans who played the previous game, allowing them to start with a little something extra. Yeah, I mean, I figured at this point that's all they were going to do. Even though they stopped at level 50 in the first game, a lot of people thought maybe they'd go like the dot hack way with it. Like you stop at 50 and then you do 51 to 100 and then you do 101 to 1. And I was like, nah, I don't think they want to go to like 150 by like a third game or 200 by a fourth game or anything like that. So this is what I expected. And honestly, it doesn't matter to me that much. I just wonder what the little something extra is. Maybe it's like a materia or something. What can you tell us about the soundtrack and music of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Is it 49 now? Do we multiply them? The world Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is much larger than Remake. Yeah. Because of this, the team has created a variety of new... The soundtrack of the original is so good. I still have the Genova theme in my head all these years later. They've expanded the variety of musical genres this time, so I think there'll be plenty to enjoy. Yeah, I mean, now we're out of Midgar. It makes sense to have more genres. Of course, we also have many rearrangements of classic tracks from the original, so I hope fans will enjoy comparing both iterations of the same song to see what has changed. For example, the music in the newly released trailer is a rearrangement of the 7 main theme as a battle music track. Gives you a taste of the direction the team has decided to take with Rebirth. I never doubt Final Fantasy music. Why ever doubt it? It's pointless. They have all of these legends that work on every different title, and that's always good. I would never in my wildest dream imagine doubting that. What was the concept behind the new trailer? Oh yeah, this is definitely a Nomura question. He likes to talk about each trailer having a kind of like a set theme. I mean, they did that with 16 too, so that's not really that much of a surprise. Every trailer has a specific purpose. Since this is the second installment in the Final Fantasy VII why does that keep happening? Remake project. Maybe it's a hint because of the timelines. That's what it is. Both of the timelines are merging. So they have both 7s and they're coming together like this. There are people who have played the previous game or enthusiastic fans who follow the built-in mysteries, but for newcomers or those who are simply interested in the Final Fantasy VII series, we wanted to include a full overview of what kind of experience they will have with the remake project. So there's less of a mysterious presence to the story this time, but you can look forward to the next trailer. I mean, there's less of a mysterious presence, but there's a lot of presences. The trailer is one big presence. It's the present. There's a joke in there somewhere. There was a scene with Cloud and Sephiroth fighting together. Will the player get to control Sephiroth? Yeah, we can't control him. Everyone's tried to just take his equipment in the original, but his attacks are always automatic there just to make you look pathetic. If you've played the original 7, I'm sure you can guess which scene I'm talking about. You will be able to control Sephiroth in the same scene in this title as you did in the original. Wait, I mean, but in the original... Okay, they're just saying in that scene, you will be able to control him in Remake, and it's just referencing the scene. Okay, so it sounds like the answer is yes, you can actually swap to Sephiroth and play as him in that moment. That was the way it was worded was really confusing, but that's what it sounds like. The answer is yes, which I think it's good. I mean, oh man, oh well, yeah, actually, I think you, because I remember you could. What was his limit break in the Nibelheim section of 7, the original? Was it? What was his limit break? I don't remember. I remember like desperately trying to get his limit break to actually proc. To actually get to see what it was in the original. It's like, I just want to know. I just want to know what it is. Oh man, I'm sure that it's in the code somewhere. I think in the menus it tells you what his limit break is, but either way, it sounds like the answer is yes. So, hopefully the answer is yes. I want to be super... It's going to be like, hey, you can play as Cloud. But then if you swap to Sephiroth, it's like, you're never... And then, man, imagine having to play as Cloud. And you're like, yeah, I love playing as Cloud in the original. And then you imagine playing as Sephiroth and that, and you're just like, I don't ever want to go back to that loser. Like, that's the feeling they have to capture. Like, there's... Like, you can never go back to not playing as Sephiroth. They have to give you that, like... That euphoric feeling, that rush of overpoweredness. So I hope they can capture that for controlling him. The Gold Saucer appears in a newly released trailer, but players get to enjoy the much-anticipated date scene. Naturally. Now, the real question is, who to take on the date? You know what? I think I've got to go vanilla with it. I think I got to go Aerith. And I think the only thing that sways me is that the voice actress, Brianna White, is awesome. They're all awesome, but I know her, so I've got to do that. I've got to respect Brianna. I've got to make sure I hear her hard work first. Then I'll get John Bentley whispering in my ear, "Hey, Cloud." Yeah. I'll go with Aerith. I'll go with Aerith first, and then I gotta get Barrett second. Yeah, because I'm sure there'll be an achievement for getting all of the dates, like to replay that and get all of the dates. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake showed the story up until the escape from Midgar. But what point does Final Fantasy VII Rebirth take us up to? Now that's the $1 million question. We have mentioned this a few times before, but the order in which you can explore the locations is not the same as the original 7. I thought they had mentioned that. I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to misspeak. And there are some shifts in the order. For example, Wutai, one of the major locations, is not part of the route in Rebirth. That's actually kind of surprising. I thought when I watched the trailer that maybe when I saw Yuffie fighting with Barrett on a beach, that maybe that was the Wutai beach. Like maybe that was... But that that island is like super mountainy, so that wouldn't have made sense. Either way, although there are some changes in the order, the locations depicted in this title extend up to the Forgotten Capital. Remember that scene that some people actually predicted North Crater would be the final bit, but that was another potential stopping point for the second game, was Forgotten Capital. And you know what? That's even funnier because... For those who didn't see, Yoshinori Kitase posted a comment on social media, and he said, "There's one scene that we know fans are dying to see." And I'm like, that's messed up. That's messed up, man. You had to go there. All right. So, that's it for the interview over on the PlayStation blog. There's also the closer look, but I don't know what's actually new here, I suppose. I just want to look it over, because as I was scrolling through it, a lot of it was like, yeah, like the characters. Let's introduce or reintroduce you to some characters. There's Cloud, voice actor Cody Christian. You know, this, if you've played Remake, you don't need these explanations. It looks like they also just cover kind of like the brief part at the end of the game. Like, this is even the same, you know, concept art from the original. And then he departs Midgar in hoping of safeguarding a future for Marlene. You know, he's got the gun arm. Hey, listen, sometimes it's a punch arm, and it's quite good. Tifa, the single best character in the original remake, or in Remake 1, or just Remake, I guess, at this point, because it's Remake and Rebirth at this point. Yeah, but it's the Remake series, so, you know, it all is there. She looks for a new path to tread. Her ATB fills quickly, allowing for the use of multiple abilities in rapid succession. Oh, yeah. Make sure that you have the deadly dodge materia on, and never stop pressing circle. Never, ever stop pressing dodge once deadly dodge is equipped. And you will slide infinitely. That was great. That was my favorite part about playing as her. There's Brianna White. There you go. That's what we were saying. Yeah, my chat brought up, it's going to be hilarious if any of the voice actors stream the game. I mean, Brianna does stream, so is she gonna date herself? You think John's going to play through and date himself? Susie's going to play through and date herself? They're just going to all date themselves? They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that they actually just date themselves as they go through that scene? That's gotta be an experience for all of them. And then Red XIII. Let's see. Red XIII is a beast with a flaming collar. Cloud and his company help him escape Professor Hojo's clutches. He decides to join them. Species known for their long lifespans. Oh, yeah. It's the Cosmo Canyon native, is the eldest member of the party. He offers its members words of wisdom from time to time. And also, he's a lab rat dog. Guarding against incoming attacks will feed his vengeance gauge. Once it's full, he can unleash his inner beast, but sufficient skill is required to maximize its potential. Yeah, so it sounds like he's going to be more difficult to play than the rest, because, you know, guarding depends on how generous the guard times are then. Because if you could just hold guard like you do with every other character, then that's not bad at all. But if you have to time it, then that would make it worse. So hopefully, or you know what, maybe it would be nice if it was like a mix of the two. But we'll just have to wait and see. Then we've got Yuffie, of course. You know, Wutai's elite corps and ninja operatives. Yuffie infiltrates Midgar on a mission to steal the ultimate materia. And it did definitely end in disaster. Just as working alone begins to take its toll on her, Cloud's group comes into the picture. Of course we do. Using her throwing star and ninja skills, Yuffie excels at both long range and close range combat. Elemental and jutsu tool. I wonder how close to her original playstyle they're going to keep, if it's going to be exact. Because she felt busted to play in Intergrade. And I think they even said that they made her like more advanced there, and that they would make changes going into Rebirth. But I wonder if that's still largely intact, because she felt awesome in Intergrade. So I'm really hoping. Okay, now we get into something new. We have Paul Tinto voicing Kate Sith, a wisecracking, feline-shaped robot often seen poised atop his big Moogle pal. One of the Gold Saucer's most popular mascots, he is well loved for his fortune-telling, a service he also offers to Cloud and friends. His adorable appearance also bellies access to a surprising amount of insider intel on Shenra. Yeah, I mean, the scene we see from the trailer is literally the scene where he's... Wait a minute. Does that mean he's out on a date with Barrett in the trailer? Because that's... If my memory is not shaky, then... You meet Kate Sith while you're out on a date, and in the trailer, he just has Barrett next to him. I think the trailer might have been the Barrett date option. I hadn't even thought about that when they were asking about the actual fortune telling. Okay. Either way, it doesn't dive into his gameplay elements. Oh man, that's what I was looking forward to. And Sephiroth, he now toys with Cloud at every opportunity, seeking to change the course of destiny and rule the planet. Of course, Zack Fair. Zack has worked with Sephiroth as a soldier, first class, but he trained under a different operator. And it is from this man that he both learned to take pride in his work and received his iconic Buster Sword. After a grueling battle in which he overcomes odds and cheats death, Zack returns to Midgar, where he hopes to see his love Aerith with a Mako poisoned Cloud in tow. Yeah. I mean, what else did he say? Timeline, timey-wimey stuff. Oh boy. Then we have the world of VII Rebirth, divided into several regions. We have our Chocobos, we have our mountain Chocobo, we have our sky Chocobo. Oh, we're good. Look at this. We get to see. I've been hearing things. Hold on, I have to. We have to get a full image of this because I've heard things about this image. Get away from here, Cookies. I don't need you. So there's Cloud. There's Tifa. I already see what it is people wanted me to see. There's Barrett. There's Yuffie. And it looks like maybe Aerith is back there, but then I see him. I see him. What? Let me zoom in. It's okay. I can zoom in all the same. I just have to do it a different way. You know what? This is hilarious, but it makes me not think about this. It makes me think about him in a sailor suit. That's all that now comes to mind, is me thinking about him in the sailor suit more than anything else. So that is a piece of brilliance. And whoever was in charge of Red 13 clearly knew what we wanted. And I appreciate them. And I want them to know that. I want them to know that I appreciate that they gave us this. Because that's a beautiful thing. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. All right. Well, now my dimensions are all off for this thing, but that's fine. None of us care. It's just, I'll just keep scrolling again. There we go. How am I supposed to stop looking? Oh, man. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else I missed here? In this game, once you catch a Chocobo in the wild, you can call it at any time in that region. It will offer you special assistance in traversing its home terrain. Okay, so it just sounds like you just need to catch one per region. You can customize your Chocobo's equipment to create a steed that's suited. Why does that sound familiar? Did we see anything like that in the first trailer? That seems familiar to me. Maybe I'm just thinking of 14, but I don't remember much about the first trailer or the first wave of news. It's been a while since we've seen anything. It's only been a few months, but either way. Vehicles. In addition to the Chocobos, you have vehicles. Take your friends on a buggy ride through the wastelands. Do some seaside sightseeing aboard a wheelie. Oh my goodness. Put these various vehicles to use as you explore. There's the buggy. I know when we'll be getting access to that. Looks like a good time. The wheelie. Call it a Segway. In the seaside resort of Costa del Sol, you can ride around on a wheelie, a two-wheeled self-balancing vehicle. Tour the town at your own pace. This is going to get laughed at so much. You have no idea. Minigames. We have the G-Bike minigame, making its return. We have Chocobo races. That's going to be good. Yeah, I don't know. These Chocobo races look a lot better than, well, honestly, even the Chocobo racing game that is no longer a game as a service. Looks better than that, even. Break the balloons that appear along the path. You use various techniques. Deepen the bond with your Chocobo and aim for first place. 3D brawler. Manipulate 3D polygon. Okay. Avoid your opponent's attacks and deliver a powerful punch. That gives me big Final Fantasy VIII vibes more than anything else whenever I see this. Like, when I think of a punching minigame, two things come to mind. The fight, the hanging scene in 8 where during the Battle of the Gardens, and Tifa versus Scarlet later on. Those are the two things that come to mind whenever I think of a punch or a slap fight in a Final Fantasy game. And this gives me more Final Fantasy VIII vibes just seeing it initially. Let's see, if you use powerful limit moves, you can use powerful limit moves, which you can unleash by continuing to land hits, and victory will surely be yours. Then the battle system, which I think they largely covered in the other thing. For flashy action-packed fights to slower strategic battles, this game offers ways for players of all types to enjoy fighting enemies. Basics: press square to attack. Press X for the command menu to enter tactical mode. Devise your strategies and register shortcuts as you see them fit. Equipping weapons and setting material will grant access to a wide use of abilities. Of course it will. Which fills as time passes or whenever you deal damage. Magic material can be set in weapons and armor to enable the use of spells such as Fire and Cure. They use ATB charges as well. Press triangle to use their unique ability. Yeah, I mean, that's just if you didn't play Remake, you wouldn't know. So then we have synergy abilities. Synergy abilities are powerful attacks in which two characters team up to turn the tide of battle. More abilities will unlock as you increase the party level, a numerical expression of how closely knit your team is, and deepen the affinity between party members. Fill the synergy gauge by using unique abilities and prepare to unleash a synchronized assault. Let's take a look at a few synergy abilities in the game. Cloud and Sephiroth, the Double Helix. That's actually fairly interesting that they're going with a name like Double Helix, because a double helix is the shape of DNA. And so, I mean, look at who you have in front of you. That is, well, not foreshadowing. That is a not so subtle undertone. It's very, yes, it's very on the nose. Then we have Yuffie and Barrett. Ninja Carbine. Yeah, this looked like he was combining his bullets with her ninjutsu, which looked cool as heck. Share their prowess and unleash a ranged attack. I mean, yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like he's just firing through the square from E11 in Final Fantasy 14. But yeah, no, through her ninjutsu. Then you have Kitty Cannonade. This is where he's eating her magical energy and then just shoop-de-whoops it out. Big fan of that. Summons, we have Alexander. A conjurant deity will follow your lead and fight enemies automatically, but you can instruct them to use special abilities before they depart. Summons will unleash one final attack powerful enough to wipe out any foe. We have Alexander. We have Odin. What? Why are they ignoring Kujata? Both PlayStation Blog and Square Enix themselves were like, yeah, we put him in the trailer, but we're not going to talk about him. Nobody knows who that is. Just only talk about Odin and Alexander. Kujata, just disrespected nonstop. So then just a quick screenshot gallery. These just look like they're from the trailer. Yeah, you have Rufus, Gold Saucer, the scene from the end of the trailer, them on their way up to the Gold Saucer, them in Bugenhagen's observatorium. Then you have, I mean, I don't know exactly where that is. It looks like, see, that almost reminds me of a scene from Remake, but this might be when they're framed at the Gold Saucer. This might be with them being surrounded at that point, as it looks like they've just got like light shown on them. They've got Vincent, and then they've got pre-order to get the Moogle Trio Summoning Magic in-game item. Oh, so here's the save. Okay, here we go. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's kind of strange. So Leviathan, I would have thought. Oh, no. This makes sense. Yeah, Leviathan from this and Ramuh from this. Yeah. Okay, that totally tracks. Yeah, so it's just a bunch of summon materia for having the pre-order and for the save file. Well, looks like I'm going to be blasting off with materia right from the get-go because, yeah, that's there. And then you have Standard Edition. Digital Edition comes... Oh, that's just the digital edition. The physical version comes with a bangle. I think I'd rather have the summon than the bangle, personally. And then the Deluxe Edition, which comes with the full game, Steelbook, mini soundtrack, physical art book. And then you have the Digital Deluxe Edition, which comes with the... Wait, but now this one has... Does it come with the other stuff as well? I'm so confused. So wait, are you telling me that the digital version and the physical version... No, it has to include... Digital Deluxe will also be available for purchase with the Standard Edition, which adds the Digital Deluxe Edition. Okay. I was going to say, I was confused. I was like, oh, you know what, though? This is pre-order. This is digital. Yeah, never mind. That's all it is. Yeah, because there's the Moogle Trio at the top on the PlayStation Store, and then you also have Magic Pot Summoning Material and also. Okay, there we go. It's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff here. And then you have the Collector's Edition, which is sold out. I wasn't going to try to get it anyway. But, yeah, and then it's got the 19 inches of Sephiroth. I still can't believe PlayStation UK tweeted that. 19 inches of Sephiroth. Yeah, that's... I can't help but notice that detail is somehow missing from here. It's a large, highly detailed statue is now what it says in place of what of PlayStation UK's Twitter said. Oh, no. PlayStation UK said 19 inches of Venom, right? Yeah. Maybe this is also 19 inches of Sephiroth then. Yeah. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, PlayStation. Oh my god, the Spider-Man one. That's what it was. Yeah, it was Venom. Oh my goodness. However, large and highly detailed is, that works as well. Besides, he's standing on the top that, never mind. Art, soundtrack, all the materia from the other ones. the Orchid Bracelet, all that good stuff. And then the Twin Pack, which has both games, just comes with Remake Integrate and Rebirth, and then Digital Deluxe Twin Pack, which includes Magic Pot, Orchid Bracelet, Reclaimant, as well as all the other stuff from the Digital Deluxe. Okay. Woo! Anyway, that was a lot of details. Honestly, my brain is still racing. I'm mixing up details left and right. I haven't had enough coffee this morning. I've had a heck of a morning, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Just February. We're ready. Just take us away, February. Come on. We'll be closer to Dawn Trail at that point anyway. So yeah. Those are 2 more interviews with a bunch of details for 7 Rebirth with combats. I mean, everything. What else is there to say? I said it all already. I'm just going to wrap up the video. Those are the interviews. Let me know what you thought in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned because I want to talk about 7 stuff. So I'm going to talk about 7 stuff, and you can't stop me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.